Hello and welcome to another episode of All Politics is Local. I'm your host, John Tian. All Politics is Local is a production of the Greater Blackstone Valley Democrats. To learn more about the Greater Blackstone Valley Dems, feel free to visit our website at www.gbvdems.org. We have yet another great show planned for you today. Here in the studio with me are a couple of representatives from Pass Mass Amendment. And Joey, before we show them, if you don't mind, we're bringing up the image, PMA 003 of the Democratic Convention, and there we have the Democratic Convention from this past June, where Pass Mass Amendment got to actually get the convention folks to sign on to their petition to pass the amendment. So come back to camera 2, please. And with me in the studio is Terra Friedrichs and Janet Cason of Pass Mass Amendment. Thank you so much for being here today and taking time out of your busy schedule, I'm sure, to appear on my show. I'm really happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you, John, for having us here, because Law Politics is local, and cable access television stations all over the country are the way that we are really educating people about how to make sure that the government is for the people and of the people.
Terrific. And Janet?
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
We're really happy to have you. We love to do things like this and get the word out. It's important that we get the word out on the important stuff that really makes a difference. So before we get started with what your amendment is all about, let's just do a little bit of background. How did you come to being part of this organization? Janet, if you don't mind, tell us how you came to be part of this.
Well, this past June, for the first time, I was one of the 7 delegates from my town of Northborough to attend the convention. And while I was there, out in the big lobby area was Pass Mass Amendment, an enormous sign, and I saw corporations are not people, money is not speech, and I just went to it like a magnet. And Terra and someone else from the organization were handing out leaflets and having people sign, and if they wanted more information, and so that's what got me interested. And then after the convention, I followed up.
Okay.
And here I am.
Well, terrific. It's good to have you. And your position with the Pass Mass Amendment folks is Regional Coordinator for Worcester County.
Yes.
Well, that's terrific, and thank you so much for volunteering your time for that. And Joey, if we could bring up the video from the convention that we had, so we can get a look at what was going on at the convention, and then we'll go into Terra's reasons for being part of the Pass Mass Amendment folks. Please bring up the video.
Whereas the citizens of Massachusetts are alarmed by the unbridled greed, disrespect for the environment, and the audacity of the idea that corporations have any constitutional right is cause for action. Whereas the citizens of Massachusetts feel that to protect their state, they must embark upon a ballot initiative to ensure that governance of their state reflects the people's wishes. Be it resolved that the 2014 convention of the Massachusetts Democratic Party endorse Pass Mass Amendment's ballot initiative to amend the Massachusetts Constitution based on, quote, corporations are not people, money is not speech, end quote. Be it resolved. Be it resolved that we encourage leaders and activists of goodwill to petition this fall to help get enough signatures put this question on the ballot. Be it resolved that copies of this resolution be sent to all appropriate media. Is there anyone who wishes to debate this resolution? The counting is still going on. Yes, it is. Is there anyone who wishes to debate this resolution? Seeing no one, I will ask for a voice vote. All those in favor of the resolution as read, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Are there any abstentions? The resolution is adopted. Thank you all.
That was wonderful. Are you responsible for that?
Yeah, but I can't believe they did it. Like, we were like, well, are they going to do it? Are they not going to do it? Everything else. So it's
and they're like, there was no question about it. Everybody went for it. That is so cool.
Now we need help though in September getting signatures.
You know I'm on it.
Please give us your name.
You've already got it. Many times over. I can't escape Terra if I tried.
I must have more buttons.
Signatures.
You know I'm on it.
Please give it.
Dancing in the aisles.
So we were dancing in the aisles, you're saying, at the convention. We actually got to see you a little bit there at the end, Terra. So tell us about yourself and what brought you to this effort.
Well, my name is Terra, T-E-R-R-A, which is earth in Latin. So naturally, I've always been concerned about what are we doing with the environment and who are we on this earth. And when I was younger, I just was very concerned about the lack of housing and what was happening with our water and just what were we doing. And so I started to get concerned about how. And friends of mine, I was at UMass Amherst, and we'd protest and we'd rally, and my father eventually said, well, you're standing outside basically begging people, why don't you get inside and actually make change? So I kind of made this career around getting to the board table, and when I got there, I realized that there were so much constraints that the people who wanted to do things couldn't effectively by law do them because of this thing. It's a concept called right to profit almost, and I can go into more detail with that about colonist governments and how the law effectively promotes the well-being of companies over the well-being of people. So, it can be the same thing if your company is responsible and sustainably oriented, of which most companies are, but there are a lot that aren't. And so I felt that I needed to actually get more active to actually change the law so that the people sitting in the seats around the table, the board of directors, could actually do what they wanted to do, they felt was right for their communities. So I just started going on committees in town and got elected as an officer in Acton, my town, my hometown. And then I thought, okay, I'm here now. I'm here behind the table, and now we can really make change. And I started educating my colleagues and found that they were constrained too, so that there were these sort of constitutional things that were put in place to constrain the local elected officials. And you can actually do a lot with rights-based ordinances to, require companies to do a lot of things. And so I thought, okay, I gotta get out of this space and actually work on a regional and state level to do things like this. And I was just outraged that things needed to happen. And when Occupy Boston happened, I found that I had a statewide network suddenly of people who cared about this from all parties. And we just started organizing. And then we thought of the idea to petition to amend the state constitution. I feel that it's our right to do so, and so now I'm here.
Okay, terrific. So now let's talk a little bit about the amendment. What exactly is it that you want to do? What does the amendment entail? And tell us a little bit about the process as well. Apparently there's a long, involved process to get this done.
Yes. So the Constitution should be hard to change. The Constitution is a hallowed document that preserves our rights. And so we understand that. And we've embarked upon this journey understanding that it's going to be multiple years. So you get signatures now. If you get enough signatures, then you progress to the Supreme Judicial Court to see if you have the right to put the question on the ballot. We believe that we have the right. We have a case, Jeffrey Clements, who is the ex-Attorney General, wrote a brilliant 9-page letter outlining why he thinks that we have the right to do this. Then we proceed to the legislature, where we have to get 2 consecutive legislators, so 2 consecutive years, sessions, 25% of the legislators to vote in favor. We think that that's going to be a slam dunk. We already have 19, is it 20 today, legislators that have signed on to endorse Pass-Mass, and lots of others who've said that they will vote for it. They can't endorse because they don't want to actually put a lot of work into it because they're doing other things. Different people have different levels of concept in terms of their willingness to endorse. Some people, if they endorse, they have to work on it all day long. Other people will endorse just to say that they favor it.
Okay. And speaking of Jeff Clements, Joey, if you could bring up image 2, the Jeff Clements autograph onto the screen for us. There we go. Jeff Clements has that book, Corporations Are Not People, and apparently he's very much in support of your efforts, given that he's autographed your book for Pass-Mass. Thanks for all your efforts, Jeff Clements. That's really tremendous. Tell us a little bit more about Jeff and his efforts on this.
Sure. Jeff is one of the leaders across the nation who are educating people about the concepts of how corporations interact with the law. He's working on the U.S. amendments, and so he's part of basically a network of colleagues in the struggle. And so, but the U.S. amendments aren't related to Massachusetts.
Right.
Okay, so I would like to set that aside for the moment, but I do think that people should read Jeff's book because it has fantastic education and awareness, and suggests a whole bunch of organizations you want to work on if you want to work on a U.S. amendment, which is effectively urging Congress, because Congress has to do something where, as in Massachusetts, if we want to do something, we can amend the Constitution ourselves via petition. So that's what we're engaged in.
Okay, so some of your talking points here. First one, moneyed interests have corrupted our democratic process, and we want to talk a little bit about the concept of colonist law and how that plays into it. You touched on it briefly earlier, but why don't you expand on that a little bit and tell us how the moneyed interests have corrupted our politics?
So the Massachusetts Bay Colony, people have to understand the basis of how our state was created. It was under license from King George, from the Crown, that licensed a colony. So people, small group of moneyed interests, asked for a license to effectively vacuum resources out of the Commonwealth. So whether it's, in different states it's different types of resources. In Pennsylvania it might have been gas or oil or whatever at the time, agriculture, furs were really big at the time. And so they licensed the colony, and they say, in this particular geography, you have the right to all of the resources. And so resources are minerals, agriculture, lumber was really big, and human resources, you and me, right? So we are human resources, and the license holder for the colony has the right to the labor resources under the King's colonization program. Okay, so we don't have a lot of experience making democracies. So when we adopted a lot of the law for our Massachusetts Constitution and our legal system, we adopted a lot of the laws not realizing that a lot of this kind of right to profit was going with it. And so we've tried to revise a lot of this so it's more about we the people, the original ideas of the founders. But sometimes you get into a sticky fix where something has to happen that's rather dramatic. Mm-hmm. And actually, can I launch right into the 1917 Constitutional Convention?
Absolutely.
Okay, so early in the 19th century, when you started to industrialize, there was a lot of fear. Well, actually, there was a growing concern that there was a shrinking amount of people that were owning a larger amount of the property, the assets, the community wealth. And so the 1917 Constitutional Convention was to address this by enacting a law that allows us to petition so that the people could gather together, get a bunch of signatures, and change government. So we don't have to wait for legislators that's not serving us. So when we decide that the legislature is not serving us, for whatever reason, it might not be bad people, they might just be stuck for some reason, or they can't get to it because they have other things, that the people can gather together and make a petition. So we are invoking that right because we feel like the same thing has happened, that now we have so much equality, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse if we don't do something. So we'll own less and less and less of our community resources if we don't act on this type of thing.
Okay, terrific. Let's move on to our next point here. Corporations were originally intended to serve the community, were allowed to organize and own property for the purpose of specific projects that would end, like building a bridge, but limited dramatically in their scope to prevent them from becoming too powerful.
Yes, because our founders were very afraid. They had just come out of a period of time when the king was bossing everybody around and colonizing people and all this kind of stuff. And so when we decided we wanted to have a democracy, we were very concerned that the same thing would happen again. And so when people came and said, well, look, we want to license corporations so that they can do things, we say, well, just if you're going to build that school or that bridge, and then you're going to end. So none of this stuff where you get too big to fail and take over the government. And so again, another reason why the 1917 Constitutional Convention was held is the same thing's happening again.
Right. So
it's important, and I have to say this, that I'm for private enterprise. I'm a small business person. My family's part of small business companies all over, and so I don't want to say anything against corporations, it's just irresponsible corporations, ruthless capitalism, the ruthless corporations that are not doing things for our communities. The corporate structure was intended to serve communities, to provide some shielding for the person that was taking the risk, so that they would take the risk and start a company that would help us all in our community, but not give them so much shielding that they could just basically take over.
Right. So.
Oh,
Janet, would you like to weigh in?
It's just wonderful to hear it all laid out like that.
Thank you. It's just a lot of these guys, they gave me
Yes.
this information, so I'm just bringing information that other people gave me, so I'm not.
So exactly what is the amendment about then? The amendment says what exactly?
Well, it says corporations are not people and money is not speech.
Okay, and it really talks about how when we look at the Constitution and we see terms like people, that refers to a person, a human being, a living, breathing
human being. Because
Yes.
if you look at it like this, like I have a corporation, just like I have a car. I have a house. Does my house have constitutional rights? Not really, because I think the Constitution was provided or put in place to protect human beings, to protect me and you from freedom of speech and freedom of religion, not my car. And so I feel like that's the corporations aren't people thing. The money is not speech thing is to say that that certain uses of money can be regulated. So to don't equate money with freedom of speech, because freedom of speech is me and you yelling.
Right. Right.
Yeah, you have to spend money to get paint to put on your sign, but there has to be some limit to being able to buy the airwaves, for example. Their airwaves are public. We have licensed these airwaves to people. Why don't we just get, it's my personal opinion, not past mass, but why don't we have free time on airwaves for petitioned candidates? That we, the people, have said we want this candidate on the ballot. So why don't we, the people, say that you have to broadcast their 1 minute PSA? So these are the types of things that at least I personally am working on to ensure that we have a democracy, that we have access to public resources, and that a tiny amount of people, increasingly tiny, don't control an increasingly large portion of our community assets.
Okay, and speaking of PSAs, that's a rather nice segue. Joey, if you could bring up the PSA video that we have in broadcast pics for you, please.
Our democracy is at risk, threatened by the enormous sums of money being spent by corporations and megadonors to influence every decision made by our government. We, the people of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, can amend our state constitution by ballot, and so this is what we must do now. Pass Mass Amendment is a statewide ballot initiative proposing to clarify the Massachusetts Constitution to protect free speech and the rights of ordinary people. Pass Mass Amendment aims to amend the Bay State's Constitution based on corporations are not people, money is not speech. Pass Mass Amendment needs petitioners to collect signatures. We need you to join us. Can you spare a few hours to protect your rights? Go to passmassamendment.org or call 978-808-7173 and help get money out of politics. Thank you for being an active citizen in our democracy.
So that is terrific. Let's talk a little bit about the effort. What is it that you have to do? What's the first step in the process? Again, this is a long, involved process. I'm anticipating having you guys back on my show several times over the next couple of years. What's involved? What's happening?
We have to get about 69,000 certified signatures. So when you sign on an advocacy petition, so you go online and you sign on the supermarket someplace, that may not be an actual binding certified signature. So first of all, if you don't register with the state as a binding political action committee to actually amend something or enact law, then what you're doing is you're giving your contact information to a nonprofit that is advocating for you, which could be a good thing. But for this is an actual binding change. So you saw a picture of the petition form, and it looks something like this. I don't know if you can zoom in, but it's really official looking, and you see there's the mark of the Secretary of the Commonwealth over here and the Elections Division. It has all this stuff right there. So you can see that this is an actual official petition. And so on these petitions, you sign your, you have your signature and your street address, and we hand these things in to the clerks in every town, and they certify, were those actually voters, or is that somebody's cat? You see? So unless they're voters, they don't count. If they aren't voters, they get crossed out, so they don't count. So to get to our almost 70,000 signatures, we actually have to get about 90,000, they recommend.
Okay.
And so, people who have done this before, they recommend, so that we hand them all in. So we go to supermarkets. Hi, would you like to sign our petition? And you get signatures, and then we all hand them into the regional coordinators, and then we make sure that they get to the clerks, or you can hand them into your clerk yourself, which makes it easier for us, or you mail them in, hand them off at one of our events, whatever. And so we just are having all these events all over the place, and everybody's signing. And last year we did this. We got 10,000. We started with 4 people at this time.
Wow.
I know. And now we've got over 100 people that are committed to doing this. Different levels. They're going to get their friends to do it, or they're going to get 100 signatures, which is like 4 or 5 hours worth of work. They're going to come to a couple of petitioning events. Some people are signed on for thousands, and so.
Great. So tell us about some upcoming events. I know that out here in the Milford area, we have the Hopedale Oktoberfest coming up on October the 4th. Greater Blackstone Valley Dems, ordinarily, we have a booth at the Hopedale Oktoberfest, but we missed the deadline this year, so we won't actually have a booth. However, that said, I'll be happy to donate some time and a clipboard.
Great.
And go gather some signatures. Will there be other people from Pass Mass Amendment at the event?
Yes, I'll be there at that event, and many others. My own town, this coming Saturday, we have what we call APIL Fest, but there are a number of towns around who are having their town day or festival day, and I'll be there. This is my area, and I'm rounding up people in each one of these towns. I find that a good place is to go to the Democratic Town Committee for a town and to present Pass Mass Amendment, and I can recruit people to help me at these various events. But Terra, is this a good time for you to talk about the fact that this is really more of a nonpartisan issue? I mean, I've gone to Democratic town committees because I feel more comfortable because I am a Democrat. But I do know of Republicans and even libertarians who are fed up with the money in politics.
Oh, certainly. I'm an independent. The Republicans got me elected in Acton. Occupiers, helped start this. So it's really all over the place. Green Rainbow Party is committed to get 500 signatures at least. I think it might have even been thousands. I can't remember. There's individual, Ian Jackson, who's running for state treasurer, and Danny Factor, who's running for Secretary of the Commonwealth. These guys have said they have committed to getting signatures for Pass Mass Amendment. Warren Tolman has committed to 1,000 signatures, even though he didn't get past the primary. These folks are coming forward because they know that this has to happen. Lee and Chung, a lot of these guys that are running are committed to this, whether they're in office or not in office. And so please come out and help. Oh yes, and in fact it's all civic groups. So it's not, so Janet's a Democrat, and so she is going to all the DTCs, the Democratic Town Councils and the area town committees. But Tea Party, there's, if you go to the Constitutional Study Group with Catherine Wright in Bedford, she's one of the Tea Party leaders that is holding a study group on the Constitutional Study Group. I don't remember what the name of it is, but she said that this is the most important thing that we could be doing to free ourselves from big government, in a sense. And so, how you view things and what happens next, it's going to, for us, we just want to build a network of petitioners around the state that want to work to getting big money out of politics. So this is just the first step. There's going to be things every year that we can do, and we're going to gather and by consensus decide what's going to happen next. Okay. And so people can be part of that process. And so I would say that half the people working on it are independents to some degree or another.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of makes sense, given that about half the people in Massachusetts are unenrolled.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Demographically, it works out kind of why the Democrats managed to dominate Massachusetts politics is because we do have about a 3-to-1 party advantage over Republicans.
I see.
Across the state, it works out to be, I think it's roughly 36% Democratic enrollment, 12% Republican enrollment, and the rest, the other 52%, are unenrolled. So the Democrats tend to dominate because they have to attract fewer of the unenrolled folks to vote on their side. And then that's really why, our entire congressional delegation, for instance, is Democratic. Why we have 2 Democratic senators. Why so many, so many of the state house and the state senate seats are filled with Democrats. Is because it's easier to reach a smaller percentage of the unenrolleds. And so that's really how things go. So to see half the people working on this as independents, that's terrific, actually.
Yeah. Thank you. And we also find that so as representatives are endorsing, we're finding that it's easier to get the the people that get the least money from big money in politics.
Yes.
Sure,
So,
sure.
so yes, you see the people that either are getting actual cash donations to their campaigns or people that are serving their interests.
Mm-hmm.
They're slower to.
They're slower to respond.
Yes,
and slower
yes.
to,
Whereas, you know, most of them, they're like, they email. That's all. You just write them a letter and they endorse.
Uh-huh.
So please, everybody out there, ask your legislators to endorse pass mass amendment. And
Terrific. Okay, let's go back to our talking points here and see where we're going. I think we covered quite a few of these actually, without having to really list them off because you kind of skipped ahead a little bit there, Terra. Corporate power is increasingly dominating our democratic process, and we believe that this was intended by the framers of the Constitution. Let's talk a little bit about that.
yeah, I talked about that earlier. And so people that were growing apples, you know, making harnesses for their horses, you know, these are the types of people that fought the revolution, that wanted to protect this democracy so that they could prosper and
flourish
live and flourish in their. And so when the corporations were originally formed, the idea of the corporation, it was to protect them. It wasn't to give away the state to large moneyed interests. And so, again, we've been urging legislators to do something to make sure corporations do not dominate our government. And we've been doing that for a long time, right?
Right, absolutely.
Okay. And so we have the right to petition to alter government here in Massachusetts. And constitutional legal scholars tell us that this is what we've got to do first before we start doing all these other laws. I can't tell you what the group is going to do because, again, it's horizontally governed. In other words, if we are going to save democracy, we have to live democracy. So we've got to have an organization that we can show people how democracy could happen.
Okay.
And so we want to consensus upon what the next steps are, but I can tell you a couple of the ideas.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so one of the ideas is to enact a law that says donations are only from the people that live in the district.
Interesting.
So that way, your legislator actually works for you, not somebody that lives somewhere else,
Right.
another country perhaps.
Right, right. We've seen some outside money coming in here in Massachusetts through various sources. There's a couple of different electoral committees. The Marlborough City, the Republican City Committee comes to mind. They're spending a lot of money in races outside of Marlborough. And so it doesn't seem, I don't know, it doesn't seem right, it doesn't seem fair. We can't even tell where the money's coming from.
That would be like if my assistant that is paid to help my company, if you paid her to do other stuff besides my stuff,
Right, right.
So I feel like that's one step. We could also limit donations, more dramatically. Right now, it's $500. There was recently a disclosure law that got passed, which is a great thing, but it doubled the amount of money that an individual can give.
Sure,
So it poured
sure.
money into the system.
Yep,
Right.
right.
So I think that personally, and again, Pass Mass may decide that they don't like it or we don't like it, but I think it should be $50.
One of the famous aspects of that law that recently came to pass was Steve Grossman had to disclose
Right.
that his mother was one of the donors to either a super PAC that was supporting him or something along those lines. It was kind of humorous almost that Steve's mother had to disclose that she was supporting her son.
Indeed.
But certainly that's the kind of sunlight that we need.
And then there are also laws relative. She's not supposed to coordinate with him.
Right.
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 So very interesting times we live in.
Yes, yeah, and I think his neighbor was also involved in that. So it's kind of interesting to see how these things shape out. But like they say, sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Exactly. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I think I got elected in Acton is because I'm very much for transparency and accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So I was digging out information. I found like $1 million here. It's like. This is serious money for a small town, and just getting information on Excel so we can do analysis. When I first started getting involved in my local politics, I had said, well, we need to see the data, and the response from the sitting board of the selectmen was, well, what are you going to do with this data? And I said, I'm going to look at it.
I'm going to analyze it and
that's right.
and see what I can do with it. Exactly. Moving on, constitutional legal scholars have suggested that it will help us if we clarify the Massachusetts Constitution.
Yes.
Based on corporations are not people and money is not speech.
We actually aren't we aren't making a change. We are just clarifying who the government works for. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yep.
So there is nothing in any SJC, Supreme Judicial Court case, or anything in any of the laws of Massachusetts that suggests that corporations have a right to anything. Everything that is a reference to corporations is about the legislature having every right to regulate them. And so we feel like that's just a clarification to basically let them know who's in charge.
Okay. Let's bring up a couple of more images here. We can discuss some of the other images that we've got from you guys. Joey, if you don't mind, image number 5, please. This is one of my favorites.
Yes.
Corporations are not people, and money is not speech. The Monopoly guy with a devil's tail, at least he still has his cane instead of a trident, I guess.
I actually don't even know who created this, but it came to us during Occupy, when people were on-site camping in Occupy. And Occupy is not dead. Occupy is just spread out and has different names.
Right.
All right, so beware, we're everywhere. But this was meant to suggest that corporations are in fact taking over, and there's this great there's this woman named Suzanne who does this great little skit, and she stands up there as the auctioneer. It's a Monopoly. She's dressed like the Monopoly person.
Yep.
And our rights are auctioned away.
Oh,
so
okay.
yes, so you have the cards, which are freedom of speech, freedom of whatever, and so the highest bidder. And we, the people, are only allowed like $50.
Okay.
And the other ones are allowed millions of dollars.
Sure,
and so the
megabucks.
Monopoly auctioneer doesn't hear us. Our voice is not heard.
Muted, yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, in big events, we ask her to come and
Have you ever seen the Billionaires for Wealth Care?
Oh, of course.
I love those guys.
I love those guys.
They are hilarious.
I actually marched in a Billionaires for Bush, a Billionaires for something. I don't know, whatever it was.
Some of the videos that they
I
have
haven't
done.
seen that. I'll have
so
to
this
look
is
that
so
up.
you dress up in your pearls and you say,
Yes, you-
healthcare for who?
Your
What?
tux and your
Why would we
evening
do
gown, and they show up in a limo, and they are
So
really
good.
tremendous. The
They're
satire
fantastic,
is just
great.
so some of the things they've showed up at Tea Party rallies, thanking the Tea Party for protecting their 1% status and stuff like that. It's really funny.
Really
the billionaires for wealth care. So let's see. We have another image we can bring up here. How about image number 1, the Pass Mass Amendment flyer. Let's take a look at that.
Yes, so this here is, it's meant to be a dragon claw, and this is in the Chicago Tribune. One of the cartoonists there is very famous. I don't remember his name, but the claws are going across the Constitution as if to say, I'm just going to rip through this.
I recognize the style, but you're right. I don't remember the cartoonist. I do recognize
so
the style.
just getting money out of politics, and corporations are not people, money is not speech. I do want to mention that there was a study across the nation that looked at similar language at the U.S. level, which is persuasive but not controlling to Massachusetts, might add, that 83% of businesses are in favor of making this change at the U.S. level. So again, the U.S. Supreme Court is persuasive but not controlling to Massachusetts on issues like this. But
Okay. Well, that's it's really tremendous what you guys are doing, and I really applaud you for your efforts, and I'll do anything that I can to help get the word out and make sure that people know what's going on, why it's going on, and why it's a good idea.
Thank you very much. And just that people can go to the website, give us a call, email us, we'll set you up. We have all petitions, we've got buttons, nice buttons and everything. Woohoo! We've got all kinds of stuff to give away.
And I noticed you're both wearing buttons today.
Yes, we are.
What a coincidence. That's it's really amazing.
Well, also the fact that we're organized into regions. I'm for the whole Worcester County, which I can't believe, but anyway, there I am. What is the page that has our contact information, the different coordinators?
Yes. So
tell them on the website, there's a menu on the right-hand side,
Okay.
and a dark gray, a rectangle with white print, and
you might have to say, you might have to
contact
choose
something.
Yes, it's contacts by town, and you
Okay.
might have to choose show more buttons or show more or something like that. But
and
there'll be
you
a
have
whole
to go
bunch of
show
other
more.
petitions,
But if you
instructions.
But then you see a whole list of all the towns
Okay.
and the person who is the coordinator. And so my name will show up on a lot of places, and our contact information is right there.
Okay. And this is passmassamendment.org.
Yes.
Okay, that's important. Do you guys have Facebook? Do you have Twitter? Do you have
yes,
other
all
ways
that.
for people to find you?
Yep, and you can get that right on the Facebook, right on the page, passmassamendment.org. It's all right there.
Okay.
And just another word about the coordinators, that we are going to be my house is going to be the drop-off place for filled-in petitions and for picking up the blank forms.
Yep.
So it's a central location, and people can, if they're not sure, if it all sounds too complicated, they can just call or email, and I'm happy to explain and walk them through it.
Okay.
But we need as many people out there petitioning in as many towns as possible.
Absolutely. So do you have things like lawn signs, bumper stickers, T-shirts, stuff like
Not
that?
yet.
Not yet?
Well,
it's all coming.
People can donate. We don't go looking for donations, but if people donate, we spend it on materials, printed materials immediately.
Okay. Well, my viewers will know my tailgate. The tailgate on my truck is rather infamous in the area. I think I have about 22 bumper stickers on there right now. But unfortunately, of course, we just finished a primary, and several of my bumper stickers are no longer operative.
Removed.
They will have to be removed.
But they'll still say a lot about you.
It does. It does.
I want to tell something about the governance of past mass amendment.
Sure.
We really want to work on a consensus-based governance style, so that as long as people kind of go with the language that we're working on, they can do whatever they want to go out there and get signatures and to organize their own groups. We don't want to be like a top-down organization. We want to get away from that kind of patriarchal style. We want to empower people so that we're a movement of leaders as opposed to,
as opposed to one leader
Right.
and a bunch of followers.
We just feel like it won't work, that type of organizational structure is good for a tactical situation, but maybe not for a movement. And we need to we got to protect our democracy, and we're not going to do it unless we're all in charge.
Sure. And so, as far as your organization is concerned, you'd really like to horizontally organize and just get as many people empowered to do this as possible, while still making your goals.
Yeah. So if you want to be a town coordinator, everybody's really happy that you have that town to be coordinating.
Okay.
And so,
Well, I was just going to say, I typically have viewed myself as more of a follower. I stayed informed about politics. I voted, and I yelled at the TV a lot when things didn't go my way. But and then I thought, okay, I'm getting involved in past mass amendment, and I still considered myself as kind of, just do what y'all, just tell me what to do. But then all of a sudden, Terra has a way of getting you to really come forward and start leading, start taking some responsibility. So even if for the people out there, even if you think that you're just a follower and you could never coordinate anything, just come to us. We'll change you.
well, so we all have a natural ability to lead, I believe. And if you look at any family structure, you'll have people who are kind of off the side, but you'll see that they coordinate things. They coordinate the birthday party. They put together the thing where everybody signed the birthday card,
Right.
And that's leadership, because nobody, I didn't remember to get the card, they remembered to get the card, they got all the signatures on.
There's all kinds of leadership.
There's all kinds of leadership.
Yep.
And so if you care, come on down, and there's going to be something for you to do, whether it's creating a public service announcement like Sin and Garrett did in Arlington, or whether it's creating a design for the shirt, or whatever it is. Everybody can help in some way. In fact, there's a button that says ways that you can help. We got a whole bunch of ideas.
There you go.
And if you've got more ideas, let us know.
So one of the ways that you guys were leading was how you and I managed to meet last week. It was Wednesday.
And where was that?
Just a few days ago at the Milford chapter of Drinking Liberally, one of my favorite organizations. For my viewers, again, just to remind you, Drinking Liberally happens the second and fourth Wednesday every month right in downtown Milford at the Turtle Tavern just down the street from Town Hall. Great organization. We have a great group where we get together and talk politics. It's totally nonpartisan. The name does imply that it's liberals, and most of our members are seriously very, very liberal in their outlook on life. But it was great to have you guys there leading your effort and reaching out to our group for help. And I think that you're going to get some serious help out of that group.
Good.
I think so too. And I'll stress the word drinking and the Drinking Liberally. It was a heck of a lot of fun. They had trivia. They had funny trivia. And,
well, that was our 7th anniversary party. We don't have trivia every week.
But it seemed to me that you were also very democratically run. That if somebody wants to put something on an agenda or make an announcement, that they're very welcoming. And so, again, nonpartisan. So it says liberal in the thing. But I can tell you that I was testing them out on either which way. And these guys are a great place to go if you care about saving our government and
Yeah, the way our group works is anybody that wants to make an announcement just needs to be loud enough to, to get everyone's attention.
I noticed the volume and the boisterousness of the place.
We do get loud, and they really love us over at the Turtle as well.
And aren't there other drinking liberals
Oh,
around
yes,
here?
yeah. Drinking liberal, there's 8 of them in Massachusetts,
had
from
no
what I
idea.
understand. There's actually almost 400 of them worldwide.
Wow.
The story of drinking liberally was, it was the dark days of the Bush administration when some guys in Hell's Kitchen in New York were really fed up with what they saw as the direction that the country was heading. And so they got together. They started getting together every Thursday to commiserate over beers and,
So their
and
solution
discuss
was to
politics.
drink.
Their solution was to drink, yes. That's the great thing about drinking. In bad times, people drink. In good times, people drink. So if you're running a package store or a bar, you're pretty much assured that things are going to go well for you. But what they did was they got together every week, and they started, they eventually came across, came up with the name, Drinking Liberally. And then one of their members moved. He moved from New York to San Francisco, and he called the founder, Justin Krebs, and he said, "Justin, I'm despondent. I don't have my group. What can I do?" And Justin said to him, "Well, start one where you are. Start a chapter.
We'll show you how.
And
It's
exactly,
really easy.
and they started a chapter, and they came up with a website design, and they put the map of the United States on there, and they had 2 chapters, one in New York and one in San Francisco, and they said, "What's going to happen next? How would this map looks so empty?" And so Justin said, "Let's just give it some time and see what happens." And their 3rd chapter was in Idaho.
Nice.
They did not expect Idaho.
Wow.
But they
Because
got
you have
there.
all these people all over the place who are desperate to
Desperate for
organize
some
and-
camaraderie, desperate to
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
In some cases, one of our members said that his wife needs this group because she wants him out of the house if he wants to talk politics.
Well, also, relative to what you said about the website and everything like that, we can help you learn how to organize your town. It's very easy. We show you how to do these free website things. It's like 5 minutes on the phone, and I can show you how to start your own website, for example, and show you the basic things to organize people. And we have sample letters and things like that to get into the local paper. Really simple. If you already have a group, we can show you, the things to say if you get on the agenda for your group. And almost just everywhere we go, half the people sign up.
Okay, so it would certainly be easy enough for anybody that's watching this show to find out your contact information by going to passmassamendment.org. But if you want to give it out,
I will.
be my guest.
Passmassamendment@gmail.com.
There you go.
And 978-808-7173.
Okay.
And I was going to, if you wouldn't mind, we seem to have time to talk about, yesterday we were at the Boston Common for the Freedom Fest. It used to be called the Hemp Fest, but now it's legal, so, now it's the Freedom Fest. So we were there. There was probably 10,000 people there. A lot of them weren't registered, so there was a registration tent. But we got, it looks like 800 signatures over the weekend, which is where we were 1 week in. So in 2 days, we got where we were 1 week in. And we got 10,000 signatures last year. So there's a good shot at this this year. So everybody's got to stand up and do it. We get 1,000 people, get 100 signatures each. 1,500 people, 60 signatures each. So how many are you committing to?
I'm committing to 200 signatures.
All right.
Wow.
See how easy that was?
I will get 200 signatures.
It's not that hard. We'll
It
show
isn't.
you.
It isn't.
No,
I've
it's
been gathering signatures for years. I
Great.
gather signatures
Great.
for my Democratic candidates when they're
Yep.
running for office, et cetera. I've been doing this for a long, long time. I believe wholeheartedly in the democratic process, and that's something that I can certainly support. I will commit to 200 signatures.
Excellent. Thank you.
That should not be an issue for me. I hope.
It
we'll
won't
see.
be.
Right?
They're easy signatures to get.
Speaking of signatures, let's bring up image number 6, Joey. If you could bring up image number 6 for us. This is our petition instructions. There we go. So we
have this on the site so people can look at it closer. But basically, we have like a 4-step process. Do not put any stray marks and all that kind of thing on there. So that's
right.
it. I
Don't
really have a
let
lot to
anyone
say that.
start the pen by scribbling
Yeah,
on the
you
margins.
can scribble in the comment.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
get any mustard on it, you better start another one.
Yeah, they are sticklers about
Yes.
about that stuff.
Yes.
They will disqualify the entire page.
But we had 85% certified last time, so that was pretty
Wow.
amazing. We're
That
told.
is good.
In fact, we've been told by professional campaigners that we wouldn't even get 10,000.
Really?
Yeah. So we got 10,000, and now some of them are coming and saying, well, if I was to get involved, what would I do? So we're getting some very good interest, and then there are people who say they want to see us whether we can double it before the big guns will come out. But the big guns, I think, might actually come out this year. So
Good.
But the other things, Dog Track, the first time they did it, they were also a grassroots, no money organization.
Yep.
And it took them 7 years. And a lot of us are prepared to do that. I mean, what else am I going to do with my life? If I don't.
Right. This is an important effort. It really is. We need to rescue our democracy.
If we don't get the money out of the politics, then we can't get anything else done.
Right. It's really central to everything.
Yes.
One of my major issues is climate change.
Yes.
I work in the solar power industry because I feel that it's my life's work to do something about climate change, and I really feel like I am making a difference. I love it. I love what I do. But by the same token, we can't combat climate change with the big money that's up against us. The big money says, oh, there's a controversy. 97% of climate scientists say there's no controversy. Climate change is happening, it's man-made, and it needs to be dealt with. And
a lot of these alternative energy industries are hampered by big oil and big money in the politics.
There was a battery manufacturing firm, the Toyota RAV EV. Toyota RAV came out with an electric vehicle a long time ago, and their battery for that vehicle was tremendous. It was a great battery. That battery company got purchased by Chevron.
And shut down?
And we've never seen
No
those batteries
kidding.
again.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So those are the types of things that we're up against. You look at something like Tesla Motors, though. Elon Musk at Tesla Motors.
Yes.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but he recently put all of his patents into the public domain. All of his patented technology, his
Can we get
supercharger
access?
technology. Yes,
We can
anybody
get
can.
access to it?
Anybody can use his patents to create electric vehicles.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a smart move on his part. He said that his competition isn't other electric vehicle manufacturers. His competition are the people who are creating gas-powered vehicles.
Oh.
So he would rather see, and certainly if we see his technology being adopted by other electric car manufacturers, guess what happens? His charging infrastructure goes everywhere. It multiplies.
Yes.
Because people will want to use that same charging infrastructure.
Yeah.
So he's done a brilliant thing here, to my mind. One of the cottage industries that I could see would be converting gas-powered vehicles over to electric, using the Tesla motor patents. That's something that I'd love to see happening. Remains to be seen on who's going to form that corporation. If anybody has some seed money, I'd be happy to to talk about.
There is a business strategy around not bothering with the patent process, and there's a philosophy that, as a free economy, we would flourish if we didn't have the structure, legal, and all that.
Benjamin Franklin, one of our founding fathers, never patented a single one of his devices, and he invented hundreds of items, and he never took a patent on a single one. He said, "What I do is for the betterment of mankind."
Even aside of that, I mean, it's a smart business. So if I have something that I've put on the market, who knows it better than anybody? Me.
Right.
So by the time you get to it and figure out how to make it, I got the next better product. So I'd rather spend my time on making the next better product and kick your bum next week too, you know? So.
There you go. Let's bring up a couple of more images. We've got, 10 minutes left, so we have a couple of images that we haven't gotten to. The image of your last meeting. Joey, image 7, please. There we go.
This is a core organizers. There's a few people missing here because they were on travel, so we had some phone. I think the phone is in there somewhere, representing everybody who was on phone.
Okay, I recognize a couple of the people in there. I see Terra and Janet.
Yes. So going from I don't know which is left and right. I'm dyslexic to begin with, and so on the camera. But on the back, that's Matt Day. He's organizing in Attleboro, and then Bruce Barton, who is organizing in Arlington, Summerall, Cambridge area. Then there's me, and then there's Diane McAvoy, who's organizing in Western Mass. And then that looks like Patty Shepard. She's organizing in Winchester, but she's also taking on the state coordination for what to do with the petition forms once you get filled out, which I thank her for that. Thank you, Patty.
Which is a huge job.
Huge effort.
No doubt.
Which is another way that people, there are a lot of people in the background doing tons of work.
Yes, and so now I'm freed up to do things like this.
Yep.
So then there's Bill on the bottom lower level on the left is Bill Lewis, and then there's Bill is He's a business guy from Cambridge who believes I think he wears a button saying, "I'm rich, but I can afford to pay my taxes." And so
I think I've met Bill. I recognized his face when this came up.
Yeah, he's another one of our spokesmodels. So, and then Janet, who's coordinating Worcester, and Yuri, who is helping us with the website, and he does some petitioning too. And then Laura, who's holding, that's my sign, that's my favorite sign. That was the first sign that was ever made. Well, it was just after, and it was sort of in that style. And
it looks like an Occupy sign.
So you notice there's two signs. There's the cardboard one, and then there's the fancy printed one.
Yep.
So I put them both together, so I draw both types of people in.
Ah, there you go.
But holding the sign is Laura Blois, and she was one of the founders of the Citizens United Working Group at Occupy Boston.
Okay.
And again, I'll just remind you that the Citizens United is at the Supreme Court level, which is persuasive but not controlling to Massachusetts, so we really don't need to talk about that on the show.
Right.
But she was originally an organizer. She's just a small business person. I think she makes dice or sells dice,
Okay.
you know, and so she's just a person that's fed up and wants to do something, and she's organizing in the Needham, Natick,
Natick, I think,
Western area with Tim Brainerd, who was her coach, her soccer coach.
Really?
Yeah, so he's helping out too.
Laura was actually late to the.
Framingham, Natick,
Laura was actually late to the party on Wednesday at DL, but she
was
did
at
show.
a different meeting.
She was at a different meeting, but she did show, and I did a special edition of the trivia for her and Chris Crean, our fearless leader at DL, who was unable to be there. So I had the two of them do trivia all over again, and they both scored 29. They got 11 wrong,
kidding.
29
I'm
right.
impressed.
So I don't know how you guys did.
I burned mine. I was embarrassed. I got 3 questions right. I don't even watch TV. You know, I'm doing this, guys. This is what I'm doing.
Okay. Let's see. Can we bring up image 4, the Natick Democratic Town Committee, please? And here we have a picnic, I guess, at the Natick Democratic Town Committee. Looks like an outdoor location.
Yeah, so we're just visiting civic groups to explain what we're doing, and people are signing up to be on the announcement list. And this was before petitioning started, so we were just telling people about the project. Sometimes they'll let us at the mic, depending on how much time there is. We are finding that more and more, to be able to cross-fertilize all of our efforts, that if you can let people announce before your meetings or afterwards, just let people have it 2 minutes, then we can get much more organized as a group. So we don't want to compete with one another and just have a top-down agenda, but a new governance style of allowing people to announce their projects.
Okay, that's terrific. And
that's what Natick did, and so that's what the DTCs are now doing all over the state. It's fantastic.
Great. I know that coming up also here in Milford, we have our DTC breakfast. They do a breakfast every election year. So every 2 years we have a breakfast where we have candidates come out. So I don't know if you guys can plan to be there.
We would love to. Thank you very much.
I will certainly find out the date and make sure to get in touch with you. I should know the date. I'm really remiss here, and the Milford DTC is probably going to be upset with me.
It's going to be in the morning since it's a breakfast.
Yes, it'll be a breakfast. It'll be in the morning.
Next week or two?
A couple of weeks. Yeah, beginning of October. I think it's. As a matter of fact, it's October 5th. Sunday, October 5th.
That this is 2014, because sometimes people look at videos and.
Yes. It'll be Sunday, October 5th, and this will certainly be on the air before then.
Great. Well, thank you so much for all that you do to keep these programs going, because I know that a lot of people watch it. And Lynn, we were on the candidates forum there. They actually had the candidate forum in the studio.
Okay.
And had the audience there who were asking questions. The moderator was like holding them. It was really great. It's feisty and everything. They had call-in questions.
Okay.
They had 40,000 people watch that show.
Well, there will actually be another opportunity here in Milford on Thursday, October 23rd. We are having the Citizens for Milford, formerly Casino Free Milford. We now call ourselves the Citizens for Milford. We're a nonpartisan group to just foment political discussion. We are having a debate between John Fernandez and Mark Reel, who are running for state rep in this district, and also Ryan Fatman and our current state senator, Richard Moore, will be there. So we're going to have a two-pronged debate for state rep and state senate in the upper chamber of the Milford Town Hall. On Thursday, October 23rd. We're anticipating a lot of people out holding signs prior to the event. If you want to come and gather signatures, by all means be my guest. I will be out there with my clipboard gathering signatures, so I would appreciate having some a couple of compatriots to help get signatures that night. But we can certainly do this. I think that we should be able to accomplish this pretty easily. 90,000 signatures isn't a lot.
Nope.
So, okay, last couple of images that we have here. Image number 10, can we do it? Can we see image number 10, please? Well, 1,500 people times 60 signatures each, 7 hours of work, 2 weeks. Can we do it?
I gave you the wrong graphic.
Oh,
But
you
this
did.
was the last 2 weeks, and we were saying that people could stand up and do it. And
Okay.
we only had 10,000. We could still get it done in the last 2 weeks, but we don't want to wait 2 weeks, guys.
Okay, all right. So can we do it? I guess we
Yes,
can.
we can.
We're saying yes, we can. And if we could bring up image number 9, the battle of our age. This is the battle of our age, passmassamendment.org. We need to get money out of politics and retake our government for the people, of, by, and for the people. That's what's
Indeed.
really important.
Well, it's really a clarification. So we are clarifying so that we can set things on a course that we think is more sustainable for our democracy. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, John.
So we are down to just under 3 minutes left. Any
I
final
can talk
thoughts?
all kinds of stuff. I can tell you what places we need people specifically.
Absolutely.
Just
good
outside.
idea.
So in your district, where, what towns are needed in particular?
I've had a hard time breaking into Worcester. I think I've got a couple of contacts now that are going to work. And there's starting to be some more events with candidates, so I could show up at those and recruit some people.
So
I
even
mean,
if
the city of Worcester, not Worcester, you know, I'm talking about that I have had trouble getting information about their, when they hold their meetings, the Democratic City Committee.
Well, yeah,
Well,
there's,
part of
there's
it is we're all
awards too,
learning.
right? You
Yeah.
have
And
ward
then there's
committees.
all the wards.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we're all in a learning process, and so a
Yeah.
lot of these groups are so small, it's hard to figure out where they are and what time they are. So a lot of what you can do to help is to call us and tell us where these groups are meeting.
Okay.
Tell us where the big events are. Tell us where the festivals are going to be so that we can come and go
point.
there. So any outdoor events where there's going to be 1,000 people, we need to get 3 or 4 people there.
Sure, sure. It's fall. This is the
Yes,
time of year
yes.
when people are doing things like this. Absolutely.
Every town is having some sort of festival.
Okay. And what's the deadline for the signatures? When do they have to be done by?
They have to be in the clerk's hands by November 19th. So if you want to mail them in to us, you got to get them out the November 12th. But if you want to give it to a regional coordinator by November 14th.
Okay.
Another thing people can do is to email their legislators and ask them to endorse, get us the endorsements. That's really important to us.
Okay.
So,
So it's passmassamendment.org.
.org, and sign on the list so that you will know when to urge your legislators. So when we get the signatures, we'll be sending out an announcement saying, all right, now it's time to get the votes. So we need 25% of the legislature, which is about 50 people. And since we've got 19 already, and 20 I think it might be today,
Yep.
so we think that we want to have, by the end of the petitioning period, all 50 lined up.
And at DL the other night, we did see our state senator, Richard
Yes.
Moore,
That's right.
came out. And did you guys have a good conversation with him?
Yep, he
Yes.
endorsed.
Excellent.
And so,
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm
Why
proud-
wouldn't he, right? He doesn't want money in big money in
Sure,
politics,
big money in
does he?
politics is going to be running against his interests, certainly.
you go.
Certainly. So it is, again, passmassamendment.org. It is passmassamendment@gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
And the phone number.
978-808-7173. And if we don't answer, you don't even need to leave a voicemail. We'll call you right back.
Okay, terrific.
Thank you.
So, ladies, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it. You've been watching All Politics is Local. All Politics is Local is a production of the Greater Blackstone Valley Democrats. For more information about the Greater Blackstone Valley Dems, please feel free to visit our website at www.gbvdems.org. Thanks for tuning in. Good night.